Shit, man. Yeah, I told you. What the fuck is she doing down there, Jaden? She? You think she's fucking... Ready to find out? All right, well, here we are with MovieStrange. Hey, Drew, how's it going?
It's going. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Trying to get through the Delta variant. I'm all vaxxed and everything, but things are a little whacked right now. We thought we were getting out. Every time we try to get out, they pull us back in.
You know, I've actually never seen that movie.
Godfather 3. I just read an article about a recut of it that's supposed to be pretty good.
That's what I read too, but I feel like I should see the shitty one, and then I'll have something to compare it to. But I haven't seen the shitty one in the past. I don't even know how old that movie is now, 30-some years? I mean, Jesus.
Godfather 3, is that old? Come on.
I'm asking. I don't know.
I have no idea when Godfather 3 came out. Hang on. Let me keep talking while I look that up. I don't mind not seeing movies that are legendary in one way or another. That one is both legendarily bad, which interests me, but not really a strange movie strange type of thing. No, that's not a movie strange, but it's I saw it, came out in 1990, by the way.
90, wow. So 31 years ago.
Yeah, I saw it and didn't hate it. I understand the hate for it because, putting his daughter in there, it was supposed to be Winona Ryder, which probably would have changed it quite a bit. Didn't hate it, but I understand that the cut, he removed some stuff from the beginning, which set up Michael Corleone trying to get in with the Catholic Church. And this reviewer was like, look, it was never a great movie. This is a little better than it was, but it still shows that, it wasn't as bad as everybody ripped. I mean, he was going through that was a tough run for him. To put
I know nothing about that movie other than that Winona Ryder was replaced by his daughter, and everyone thinks she did a crappy job, and that pulling me back in line. That's literally all that I know about it. And Sofia Coppola turns out to be a much more interesting director than actress anyway. Sure. So that's how I know her work. But
Andy Garcia is great in it. Bridget Fonda's in there. There's a lot of good stuff going on. Mike Montoya, not as Montoya. He's in Homicide. That guy, I can't think of his name.
Joe Mantegna?
Joe Mantegna. He plays Joey Zaza. I mean, there's some good stuff in it.
He's in Homicide, the David Mamet movie.
Right, the film.
Homicide, the TV show, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking House of Games.
Yeah, it's funny because I just saw, it's weird because everything comes out on streaming now. So when there's something that you've kind of wanted to come out on physical media and it actually comes out, it's a surprise, and sometimes it's pleasant. And then sometimes I saw an announcement today for a 4K Blu-ray restored release. Do you remember Coppola's movie, The Outsiders?
Yeah.
So there's that movie, which has its own charms. And then they cut a different version of it years ago that was The Outsiders, the complete novel or something like that. And that's dreadful. Yeah. That's getting a 4K Blu-ray release, that novel cut. So who knows what they come up with.
Criterion's doing that whole 4K release of all the,
they've switched to 4K. They've got some stuff. Yeah, but they've been re-releasing stuff from their catalog on Blu-ray, and now they're re-releasing stuff. Like Citizen Kane is their next, I think in November, a really big 4K Blu-ray release. Yeah. I mean, it all depends on what they do with the care they take to restore it. I mean, anything that's on film, you can make it as high a resolution as you want, I guess. So if they do it properly, it should look amazing.
If the print's good, you're good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. Well, this one should have never been printed on film or anything. It's my theory.
Well, what's today's movie?
Well, here are the words. Okay. Now I gotta say, this is a gentle way of saying what the hell was going on. Teen Dreams Gone Wrong. Okay. That was what the 4 words I picked, the film I picked.
What were the other words? Do you remember?
Let's see. Let's see. Teen Dreams, and then Good Friends, Game Girl. Okay. Now, is this the same movie? Because you've been pulling that lately.
It sure is.
Oh, you son of a bitch. That is killing the whole... I mean, we'll just have to stop with... I like the 4-word shtick, but you're killing me with this.
You didn't pick it. You didn't pick it twice in almost 30 episods. So I said that sometimes I'm just going to give it to him.
That's cheating. That's not right. You're manipulating the game here.
It does happen. Uncle Al set that tone.
But his was classic. Okay, yours is just mean. I just think that's mean. but all right, I accept. So the movie is this freaking film called Deadgirl. All right, go ahead, give me a synopsis, and then let's just get this over with. I mean, let's dive into this.
This is from I think 2008.
2008. Yep.
It's written and directed by some guys with roots in trauma.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So that gives you some idea of content, and I don't mean this as a knock necessarily, but filmmaking quality, budget, stuff like that. It's, this is not the world's prettiest movie about awful things, which I have some thoughts about that and other movies too. But Deadgirl is about a couple high school boys that discover that there's a zombie tied up in the basement of an abandoned mental hospital near their high school. So they fuck it. That's the movie.
A lot.
And then other people get involved and stuff gets worse from there. And I think it's a movie that is both trying really hard to be the most subversive, the most disgusting, all that kind of stuff. But then, it could be way more graphic than it is.
Yeah, it's not graphic. It's funny.
It's not graphic.
It's not graphic. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But it's not graphic. The one graphic thing he does is when he puts his finger in the bullet hole.
Right, but then he talks about how he's going to put his dick in there, and they don't show that. So
this is okay. So from a sociological perspective, what the frick is this movie trying to say? Right, teenage boys are horny. Okay, check. Yes.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, it's saying that
it's more than that.
Yeah. Well, it's saying that because this isn't about guys that are horny. This is about guys that are horny and don't look at who they want to have sex with as a person. And so, this is tied to a lot of different things that we've been talking more about in our culture in the past few years with Me Too and everything, but just the way that misogynistic young bros, incels, all these things that they don't look at women as people. And so in that sense, it's always out there, but the movie was a little ahead of its curve. And actually, it's funny because just a couple weekends ago in my house, we watched the new documentary. I think it's on HBO about Woodstock Festival 1999.
Yeah.
And that was basically hundreds of thousands of these guys losing their minds.
It's funny you say that because
it's a very strong connection, I think.
We're going to talk about something later that relates to what you just said about Woodstock 1999. Okay. Based on that, because I didn't quite get that, but now that you bring that up, it gives it a slightly, I don't hate it as much as I hated it, okay? Because it does have, there is a reason for it, okay? I'll give you that. The two main guys, Ricky and JT, the two kids, seem to be outsiders a little bit in their high school, right? They're the kind of, outside of the cliques and the jocks and the
everything except the fact that there's a dead girl. Everything in this story is high school archetypes, real life high school archetypes, teen movie archetypes. It's all familiar tropes and everything, because you can look at the relationship. These guys aren't friends like, hey, we're buds, we hang out. They're friends like in the movie we did in a previous episode, The Boys Next Door, where one of them is much more dominant and one of them leads the way into the violence and the other one doesn't resist enough. I mean, I was reminded of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold from the Columbine Massacre. I mean, that they are poisoned together. There's one that's definitely worse. And in this case, it's JT, who's Noah Segan's character. Noah Segan is a guy that's been in a bunch of Rian Johnson movies like Brick and Knives Out, and I think he's got a small role in Star Wars Episode 8 or
He's
something.
also in Looper.
Right, yes, he's in Looper.
And that's how I recognize, that's the only kid I recognized in the film was him.
Well, Shiloh Fernandez, who plays his friend Ricky, his friend, Ricky, he's been in a bunch of movies. They're both still working steadily. Shiloh Fernandez was in a movie that I really enjoyed that a lot of people didn't like. I actually saw it in the theater with my wife, and we were both like, that movie was bonkers, and I liked it, which was the Evil Dead remake that came out.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really well done, and he's the boyfriend who's trying to save his girlfriend. the redhead who is got a drug problem, but of course she has a much bigger problem than drugs.
It's funny, his girlfriend in this, the woman he was pining for, is a redhead as well.
Yep.
So interesting. Oh, I had no idea he was in it. Now that was a good film.
That was a good film, and the women, I believe, my take on that film, the women in that film were characters, just like the male people were characters.
All of them,
and that is not the. I don't think that's the attitude of this film. I think that's very explicitly the attitude of the characters in the film. Is that women are for sex and whatever they want, and that's that you can look at that, and I mean I didn't watch this movie and say this movie says all men are this. I don't think that that's what it's saying. I think it says that given the opportunity, some people are going to go to some very terrible dark places, and also we want to make a shocking movie, and so that's what they've done.
Yeah, except all the guys that they surrounded, everybody partook in what was going on, except for Ricky, the main guy.
Right. And eventually he took it over and he continued it. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about that ending because I was a little confused by it, but we'll get there. I mean, I think we can spoil it because, it's spoilable. Let me just say
one other thing, because this is not a broad genre of movies. There's lots of movies about boys being awful. There's lots of movies that are rape, revenge things, stuff like that. But I was trying to think there are movies about people who have sex with dead bodies. Some of them are very good, like Kissed with Molly Parker. But what other movies are there where people have sex with zombies? And I don't mean zombies having sex with zombies. Even that's in Army of the Dead and stuff. But humans having sex with zombies. And the only one I could think of, which is also a fine film, A Cemetery Man, Delamore, with Rupert Everett as a guy who he basically looks after a cemetery that if you bury something in it, it comes back, kind of like Pet Cemetery, but sexy.
Okay.
And a woman that he loves ends up there, and so he ends up having a sexual relationship with someone who's undead, like explicitly not a ghost or something, but a zombie. Right. And so it shows that's a real gross idea. It can have different tones. This one went with gross.
Yeah.
Not graphic, but very gross.
Yes, exactly. Well, while I think about it, let's play the trailer and just take a look at these guys, and then we'll talk about it again.
I see a door down here.
What the fuck is she doing here, JT? We gotta get out of here, JT.
We could keep her.
Okay, one suggestion. If you watch this film, do a drinking game, and every time Ricky says the name JT, throw back a shot. You won't make it through the film, okay? I love that it's framed the way it's framed about, kids growing up, boys growing up, but they're banging a zombie. I don't know. It's so cliche, especially the jocks. This jocks one even carries a baseball bat around everywhere. I mean,
it is. It plays with all those things. Absolutely. It's not as clever or as fun playing with it as like Jennifer's Body or something.
No, I don't think it's clever at all. I actually find it.
No, you found it repulsive, right? I mean,
not only repulsive, but just not clever. Just hitting you over the head with just.
It's
JT.
Not subtle.
I mean, it's all through JT, right? JT just takes the heat for everything. Obviously, he's the one doing most of the damage, but he involves people around him. that gets involved in this thing. And then, like you're saying about how incels look at women, or you know, if that's really what. And I don't know if this is 2008. So was incel even a word at that point? I know people.
Well,
probably,
remember that when people come up with that terminology, they're labeling something that's been there before them.
Right. Okay.
So like the tendencies that have become identified as an incel because they do this behavior on Reddit.
Well, I just remember that one guy that
it's always been there.
Yeah, the one guy that was watching out of his car, like tracking women and saying, "I deserve that. I deserve that." I don't know why. You know, this. I think he actually killed a couple. I'm not sure, but
yeah, no, he did a mass shooting and then he died. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that was in I don't mind that I can't remember
California.
His name, I think that was in
right?
Santa Barbara.
Right,
yeah.
Santa Barbara. Right. And that's what this film. And there's that whole scene they do at the gas station where they realize they can use the zombie to zombify other women,
right?
So they can keep this thing going. Right. So they
it
go to the
turns out
gas station.
if you keep shooting and raping and mutilating the zombie, it's gonna just get more beat up and grosser.
Well, they
So
kept talking
we better
about the
make
smell
more.
and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
So you're putting yourself in the position, if you can possibly do that, would you stick your anything inside anything near that person?
Well, no, I wouldn't.
I mean, there's no way, right?
But I mean, I remember being that young and feeling that compelled, and I still wouldn't have done it. So
Right.
it's not for everyone. But you also have to remember that the way that they portray these guys, again, like the boys next door, they have nothing. They have no prospects. There are no adults supporting them. And at the end, JT is saying, what's that line? I actually jotted it down.
Says, "Don't tell
this is the
grandma."
best we're ever going to have.
Oh my God.
And that's horrifying on the face of it.
Right.
But that's what Roy and Bo felt in The Boys Next Door when they left high school, and then they were like, it's a life of in that movie, it's a life of
Right. We're
working
going to go
at
back to the
gas station
factory. Right.
in the factory. And then this movie, he's like, there's lots of guys like us in jail. And, they have no prospects. So some people have no prospects. They turn to murder.
I can't
Other people
believe you're
turn
actually,
to other crimes.
This is what I wanted to walk into this going, I just can't even recommend at all this film, right? Now you're adding little elements of doubt because yes, it is saying something. It just didn't say it well in my estimation.
That's fair. I don't know that I would recognize. I certainly wouldn't recommend it to a general audience.
No,
but it is a horror movie that's not. It's, to me, especially because it's not as graphic as it could be. It's not torture porn any more than Martyrs is torture porn.
Martyrs is way more.
Well, Martyrs is way more graphic. It's also much more beautifully done,
Yes,
and it's just
gorgeous.
much better, a better script. It's got a lot on its mind as well. So
And
that
I
was
never
the
want to
example
see
I
it
was thinking
again.
of earlier. Right. I do have that on Blu-ray, so I will watch it at some point. But this movie is not in that league, but it is a movie that is a horror movie that's doing things that are trying to shock you. I mean, its release coasted on the reputation it got on the internet. They did a very unusual release where they didn't just put it in theaters. They did some midnight screenings of this movie. And then of course you have stories of people walked out and people threw up and all those other things. I'm sure people walked out. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But, it's like trying to make a midnight movie on purpose. And, that's not how it usually works, and there's probably other movies that I cannot think of that were intended to be like that. Yeah. But this movie it's not nothing. It's not about nothing, and it's not completely like trash looking. Let's all laugh at how bad it looks, like the sort of joke of a Trauma movie type of thing. But people come out of Trauma. James Gunn, who just had the Suicide Squad. He's a guy that was he wrote Romeo and Juliet and stuff. So these are real filmmakers who have real things they want to do and say in the movie. And
this film doesn't look bad. This film is technically it's well
competent.
Shot. Yeah, it's competent.
Yeah, it's competent.
It's
got
the
real
old trope
cast
with
in it.
The mental institution. That's cute. I mean, you've seen that in a lot. But again, back to the scene.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I forgot to say that the mental hospital, at the beginning when they first go over there, that reminded me again of similar movies and similar stories. Is that they go to this place that's a dump, and the first thing that they do, and of course JT does it first. Let's spray paint dicks on things. Let's throw trash around. Let's break windows. They're making a mess of something that's already messed up. They literally can't leave their mark on anything. No one will notice that they were ever there. So when they get an opportunity to do something that's really unusual, I'm not shocked that they jump. I mean, all the warnings are there. They go to the basement where the murderers are supposed to have been. There is an almost literal hound of hell to stop them. And then where they go, I mean, it looks like every boiler room of a Freddy Krueger movie and all these other things.
Right, and they have to break the door down. The door is locked from the inside, or
right. You actually have to let yourself into hell, and then when they get in there, that's pretty hellish. Right. What they find, and then especially what they do with it. So
right. And the one character wanted to get out. Ricky wanted to get out. Just like, let's save the girl. JT obviously is, like you said, there's one poison one who's leading the other one. Mm-hmm. But again, so there's that scene at the gas station where they're sizing up women to add to their harem, I guess. I don't know what they thought they were going to do. I mean, it's sort of inconsistent because that one kid they brought in, their buddy, I forget his name, with the hat.
Wheeler.
Got bit at some point.
Right.
But nothing ever happened to him. Like nothing, no zombifying, nothing. Maybe he was getting dumber. I can't, he got his hand chopped off, but that's because Ricky chopped his hand off.
Right.
Not the zombie. So he didn't get zombified, but some other people, like there's a couple of times where, they brought the two jocks in. They brought the two jocks.
Maybe you have to get your dick bitten like the jock did, and then you get zombified. It's
so
hard
it has
to say.
to be bitten on the dick, I guess.
I don't think that's a rule.
There are no rules. Okay, but that gets to the end. So we'll get okay. But the thread in the film
let's talk about the gas station thing, because there's one thing about that scene that is actually it stands out to me. Well, it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of the few times they're trying to do something funny, because they club this woman with a crowbar, and she looks surprised.
Well, it looks like she's going to drop to her knees and die.
Right.
See the blood coming on the forehead.
And then she punches the fuck out of them and leaves them and flips them off.
Right.
And like that's actually kind of funny, because it just reinforces that they think they deserve something from women, but they don't know any actual women. They don't think of women as people, including Ricky and his childhood crush on this Joanne.
Right. That's what I was getting.
Joanna. Yeah. And then this real woman is like,
and they're sizing her up the whole time. She's too big. Her hips are too big.
They're judging her poorly.
But look at those boobs. They're just like completely just. And yes, that was a reverse in the film, because she does beat the snot out of him after he clanks on the back of her head with a tire iron.
Yeah.
But that gets to Ricky's. The whole thread of this film is he's got a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend when he was 12 or something that he's pining for. Literally stalking in some ways. He's staring at her all the time. He's constantly...
Oh, he's creepy out of the gate for sure.
Yeah. And she's going out with the jock boyfriend who they bring down into the pit and convince him to stick his dick in the zombie's mouth, which, okay, I don't know how anybody can convince anybody of that, but he did it, gets bit. So now he's out of the picture. Now, let's talk about this ending, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All hell breaks loose down there. Ricky's trying to stop all this. He chops Wheeler's arm off. I think JT finally, I don't know, JT somehow gets bit, gets attacked. He gets the...
Well, he said it, JT set it up. JT and Wheeler set it up that they tied Joanna and Deadgirl back to back, because he decided, I'm going to make her the new Deadgirl. And so the zombie girl actually gets loose and ends up biting almost everyone, but she really goes after JT. She's not completely without sentience. I think she doesn't attack Ricky at the end. She charges at him and past him, because he is the one. Like he never raped her. Right. And he almost sort of tried to help her by cutting her loose one time, which I guess is more than anybody else has done for her. Right. So, but it's in a way it becomes a rape revenge movie, and that the people responsible for the rape of this woman are ultimately punished by her or indirectly, except then the very end of the movie is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
is
but
that,
that's right.
Ricky
So what we see
becomes
is
the worst version of all of this.
well, we see Ricky. So fades to black. The zombie girl runs out of the building. Don't know where she
Right.
went.
JT's
Joanna
face is
looks
all
like
chewed
she
up and it's bleeding
Joanna
out.
looks like she got stabbed by JT.
Right.
So she's dying in Ricky's arms. I think dying. Fades to black. Comes up on Ricky in classes.
Well,
and he's
hold on. There's a part where JT says through his shredded lip something along the lines of, we got to bite her soon. You're running out of time.
I didn't hear
She
that.
she is bleeding to death, and I guess that's almost. They're not really explicit about it, but I guess that's JT's going to do his friend one last solid, get him his dream girl, and let her become the next dead girl, because the dead girl did actually run away.
I completely missed
I think
that.
that's how it gets set up. I think so.
So JT bit her.
I believe that's what they're saying.
Okay,
If
I
have
missed that.
wrong,
Okay, so what happens is
that
it
could
fades
be,
to black. We're seeing scenes of Ricky. Seems happy. He's in school. He's walking around. He's riding his bike, maybe. But then the last thing you see in the film is Joanna laying on the slab as a zombie.
Yep. Back in the same basement of the mental hospital. She's got on a nice white dress and everything,
So
but
now,
she's
although
tied up.
he set lights up in there, he made a beautiful romantic candle lit thing, and
Lovely.
it's Ricky has decided that he's finally got the love of his life, and now he's all hers. She's all
Because
his.
she's not a real person.
No.
To him,
She's-
she wasn't
no,
a real
she's an
person
object.
before she was a zombie.
and right before this, she was. I think even in her dying arms, she's like, "I don't want to be with you.
Yeah.
I want to be with my boyfriend." I had no idea that I have to go back and look at that JT said we got to bite her before she dies. Holy!
I think
cow.
that's right. And if that's wrong, please let me know. But I think that's
I will.
Right.
I'm going to look back at that. That's crazy.
Because, they're very explicit that she was stabbed.
He
That's why
stabbed her.
she's
He killed her.
bleeding
JT,
right, but they say that explicitly, like she's been stabbed, not she got bitten by the dead girl on the way.
Right.
Because again, the dead girl has no reason to bite her.
No.
The dead girl bites and kills people that have hurt her. She doesn't do that to Ricky, even though he deserves it. Ultimately, the whole movie, and then at the end, and she doesn't do it to Joanna. So the only one left to do that I think is what he offers is JT as he's dying.
But I thought the last thing he said was, "Don't tell my grandmother."
He did. He was embarrassed about all of his rape and
JT,
suborning murder and stuff. So don't tell my grandma. Yeah. That's the thing. They're still kids at the end of the day. They're still kids.
And there's that whole
They're
Ricky
awful children, but they're still kids.
But Ricky's awful stepfather, cliched awful stepfather, who was trying to help him, but
Well, yeah, every parent is either absent or actively hurts them, and the teachers are equally feckless.
yeah.
And it's I mean, like Brick and like lots of other better movies, it's a world where parents either just do not exist or have no role at all. Not just horror movies, but like lots of other Valley Girl, lots of movies where people just they seem to be living their own independent life. And there's a reason that children need guidance because they might make really awful, selfish decisions, and they might not be able to see that other people have the same feelings and experiences that they do in their head. So, I mean, like the very premise of the movie, I can't relate to it at all. Like if I found someone tied up, my inclination would be to save her and rescue this person. And if it turned out that when I was doing that, she was a zombie, I feel 100% confident at any age that I would have no interest in having sex with it.
I'm glad to hear that.
But I don't think it's unrealistic that there are these kids that was their response, and they get there pretty quickly. Like, hey, we could keep her.
Yeah, there was no. JT was all in right from the get.
Yeah,
he didn't.
I mean, she was. The actress is named Jenny Spain. That's what I think you call a brave performance.
Yeah, that was
a fearless performance.
Yeah,
I mean,
we thought Alice Creed was fearless in her thing. This was like 20
well,
times.
She has, and Jenny Spain has a genuinely, that alone would have put me off, a genuinely horrifying merkin that she wears in this movie. It's just really extra, just gross.
It was quite fluffy. I mean, it was very,
but matted. Like it was just,
Right.
it was just gross.
Well,
but
she's
that's
a
what
zombie.
happens when you never wash and you are getting repeatedly penetrated and you're a dead body already.
Yeah.
So it's just extra gross. But I mean, you know, I think that the woman who plays Deadgirl, of course, she doesn't have a name. She's a girl that's dead. They name her the Deadgirl in the movie. You know, she does a really good job. She is actually, you know, upsetting to watch her be victimized. She's scary when she's chomping her teeth at the camera and stuff. I mean, it's gross. So the movie,
she kills the dog for JT. Or
oh
just
right,
kills the
yeah,
dog.
we don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Don't have to, yeah.
So
yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. You gave yeah. There's a shred of light that was not there when I jumped on this episode. That one line. If he said something about biting her, that's gonna. Believe me. I'm never gonna. I'm only gonna go back and watch that to see if he said that.
Right.
I don't want to see the film again. I think there's
I don't
better
blame
ways to express the problem that these guys have, and maybe this type of person has. This was a little, like you said, it's not graphic in the sense that it's explicit, but it's just graphic, and it's, you know. And I'd like
It's
to
gross.
believe that at 15 years old or 16, that I'd have the sense to walk away. But, you know, again, that was a long time ago. That's a long time ago.
Ralph, you're talking about how, you know, you remember when you were 15, but when the boyfriend says that, then Ricky mutters under his breath, "I'm 17."
Right.
So try to be better than his absent mother's
right.
shitty boyfriend.
Shitty boyfriend.
Okay, Ralph,
right.
come on.
The
Aim
old
higher than that.
stepdad there. Stepdad, always cliche.
Ooh, by the way, that's what's his name? I think it's Michael Bowen. He's Buck, who likes to fuck and drives the pussy wagon in Kill Bill. He's the one that's raping Uma Thurman's character when she's unconscious and
Are you
pimping her
kidding
out.
me? Holy cow. Wow.
So he's a great actor. He's been in a ton of stuff, you know, back all the way into the 80s. And he's creepy. When I first saw this movie, I kept expecting him to be much more upsetting, but he was just basically
that's
kind
wild.
of just a neglectful. I'm trying to talk to my daughter's son, my girlfriend's son, and
Yeah.
he's not interested. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the
it
mother's
could've been a
never
lot
around,
worse.
though. His
No, we
mother's
don't
never
see her at
around.
all.
Right. So
We don't
the guy's
see
drinking all her beer and
JT's
eating all her-
grandmother. So
Right. Right. All right. Well, okay. Made it slightly more palatable. Slightly. I'll let you know about that line. I'll be fascinated because that's the one thing that
check.
just kind of confused me. I don't know how she turned into a zombie, but if that was his parting gift, then
Yeah.
Ricky is a sick.
oh yeah.
Sick
Listen,
person.
I mean the ending. I think the ending of the movie makes sense and is the right ending for the story that they're telling. If logistically the way I've understood it, which you have not seen, that makes sense that it goes that way. Now I'm curious if I just invented that because it makes sense, or
Yeah.
you didn't get it because it's not there to get. So
Yeah,
you'll let me know.
I can't wait because that was definitely a confusing thing for me. I don't know how it happened. So maybe that's the case.
Well, when
anyway.
you find it, you can throw that clip in right here.
Love you, John, so much. Ricky, you can still bite her before it's too late. I love you again.
All right.
Don't tell my grandma.
It's mean that you used the 8 words were all leading to the same film, but that's okay. So because of that, we're not going to do a 2x4. I wasn't planning on doing a 2x4 anyway. We're going to do what we like to call a Ralph's Request. Okay?
Ralph's
Now,
Request.
I'm
Yep.
going a little bit more mainstream on this one. And it's interesting that you brought up Woodstock 1999 and talked about angry young men who it's basically one of the threads in that documentary about what happened in 1999. The film I want to do came out in 1999, and it's all about angry young men. And it's kind of getting a resurgence right now, and it's Fight Club. Edward Norton, Brad Pitt,
I heard of
directed by
that.
David Fincher. A lot of people have heard of it. I've watched it, but I haven't watched it with analytical eyes like I did with this one, even though I missed lines and missed some stuff. But I think it's relevant given kind of what's going on right now in the country in a way, because people are pretty angry about stuff. And that movie came out, it's it's pre 9/11, so it's 1999. There's some mayhem in there where they're blowing up buildings, but it is about young men rage, Generation X rage, and how they place it and how society is knocking these people down. advertising and all kinds of commercialism and
Is
stuff.
is that what it's about? I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll have to see.
see.
We'll have to watch. So Fight Club will be the next one. It's a Ralph's request.
All right.
We're going to have
You think maybe
two guests, possibly
some
one
guests?
guest. I think we'll have a couple of guests. So there
I
might
look
be
forward
4 of
to
us
it.
or 3 of us. So I think it'll be a good one.
Good.
But
Good. I think that's one of those defining books and movies of its era, and it is for sure a cult hit because it wasn't a complete bomb or anything, but it did not find the audience that it later found.
Certainly did
on home video. And I mean, it cost about $60 million. It made about $100 million. So it was definitely not something that was going to be a speed bump in anybody's career. And you know, I mean, it's David Fincher. So even if you ultimately don't end up liking the movie, it is world-class filmmaking.
Oh, it'll be, yeah.
You know, by a guy at the top of his game, and you know, Brad Pitt and Ed Norton and Helena Bonham Carter and Zach Grenier as the guy who's I think he's Ed Norton's boss when he beats himself up. So you know, I mean, it's definitely worth a look. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I will I will look forward to watching.
It'll be good. I can't wait to watch it and discuss it with everybody. So that'll be the next one. All right. All right. Well, listen, I hated this film. Like I said, you shined a couple little beams of light that kind of gave it a little socially relevant impact. But I have to watch just the end scene. I want to figure out what happened there. I'll let you know. But never want to see it again. I don't know if I'd recommend this one.
Well, I am sorry that Uncle Al couldn't join us because I think this is right up his nihilist.
I think this would have been right there for him.
Bullet hole. Yeah.
But he's very busy. He's in his lair trying to figure some things out.
I understand it's got evil empires to run. I'm not faulting him. I'm just saying, you know, I think this would have been, he would have enjoyed discussing. He would have enjoyed it in ways that neither of us enjoyed. I think he might have
enjoyed it. Although I did talk to him about it. He said, "Oh, this doesn't sound like one I could watch with my girlfriend." I said, "I don't think you should." But
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't know how
they think is as brave as he is with.
They watch a lot of stuff together. Those two.
Yeah.
So it amazes me. She's a trooper. That's for sure. So anyway, all right. Well, look. Have a good, safe week. I hope.
You too.
Hope things go well at the office. I know things are getting a little wacky here in Baltimore.
The
variant is kicking in a little bit.
Numbers are climbing, so everybody stay safe out there.
So
maybe by the time you see this, it's all over.
We keep saying that. Keep saying it.
Yeah.
But keep going. Keep on plugging, all right? Keep on Colton.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Drew. I hated this film.
Good night, Ralph.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching.
See you later. Bye.